Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll tell you about some challenges we've had, but this it worked out wonderful. But this is the Working Woman Report. I'm Willie Jones, president of Women for Progress. And of course, we come here every Wednesday from 12 to 1 to highlight the work of women throughout the state of Mississippi. Now, post COVID, of course, all over this country because we no longer have any boundaries. So I'm so excited to be here today talking with you with our next conversation with Miss Kayla Thompson, who is a phenomenal news anchor for WJTV. She's a speaker, and now she's an author. So we're going to talk about that too. But first, I want us to get started by, of course, just letting us to get those who you have not just moved to town, haven't been, you don't, you watch TV. That's the only way you don't know this brilliant leader that we're going to be talking with today. So I'm excited, extremely excited to be talking with her today. Last year, 2024, Women for Progress, of course, selected her for one of the top nominees for Women of the Year. So you know she has the credentials. And so we're going to talk with her about today. She has this fabulous new book called Master of the Pivot. And that's exactly what we did today. Because as you can see, you don't see my normal cameras and stuff we're going. So she helped rig a sister up today. So I appreciate that. And I just love her. We love her in our community. But beyond all the particular titles she holds and what she does every day is what I consider when I start thinking about how should I introduce her is I think what a couple of words would say suffice. She is a community champion and she works all across our community, all over this state and beyond, lifting up the stories of our communities, whether you're a woman-owned business or you're doing great things in the community, you may be a nonprofit. She talks to individuals and their families from all over the state, and we appreciate her. And when we think about the assets and the particular individuals and stakeholders that lift us up as a community and as a family, we think of Kayla Thompson. So I'm so proud to be talking with her today. And I know you will be too after that. And then you'll go and we're going to tell you where to get the Master of the Pivot. So you can do what we did this morning, which is pivoted here in the studio. So this is Women for Progress Radio and Women for Progress Now, Women for Progress Media. And we're glad to be having a conversation with you all today. I want to ask you again that make sure you like and share all of our videos. Of course, you can get us here on Facebook Live. This live feed is also on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere you get your podcast. That's where we are. Okay. So look, I always tease that when I'm at home and I'm getting ready, putting my makeup on, I'll even tell Alexis, pull up Women for Progress Radio, and she hooks me up with one of our previous shows so we can do that. So Kayla, I'm thinking this is your first radio with our radio network, right?
Yes. And thank you for the introduction. I'm sitting over here like, what? Who? Community champion? All these leader? I try to do my best. I try to do my best. I try to be the best Kayla Thompson I can be.
Well, good. And we appreciate that because you're always stepping forward and stepping right. And I want to get us started right in that conversation because I tell women when they come to the table, they say, okay, do I have to have a whole hour or so? Yes, because the hour will go by very, very fast. Of course, I reached out to you when I saw this new book because I got excited about it. I said, I got to hear this. I got to read this story. But first, let's talk a little bit about you and what was the catalyst. You're now I guess I call it a news anchor at WJTV. But you've done so many other things. What was the catalyst for this career? When you were a little girl, were you walking around with a mic and a hairbrush in your hand saying I wanted to be an anchor? Tell us about what was the catalyst for this particular career.
Never. So that's the answer. I never walked around with a microphone or a makeshift anything. I thought that I would be an entertainer. I always knew I liked people. I like to engage with people, learn about people. My mom would always say, we'd be in the grocery store, and I'd walk over to folks and just start giving them hugs because I can feel people's energy, and I've always been able to do that. And I think that's what makes me really good on air, because I know somebody is terrified to come on TV, and I do it every day. It means nothing. It feels like nothing to me, but for somebody they're up there like this, and I just take it. I got it. It's okay, and let's move on. So you can be the best you can be in that arena. But yeah, I thought I was going to be a background dancer for Missy Elliott. I had all these other big dreams and aspirations. And so I think over time, I really started watching news with my parents as I got older. And I was like, okay, they always watch 16. No, but I love 16. I started watching them and I started saying, okay, I kind of like that. I like what they're doing. It's always current. It's always something you can learn about. They are, journalists are your first draft of history. So I was like, that sounds fun, but I like TV still. But maybe one day I can be grown and find my way through TV by going through news. And that's exactly what happened when I got to Jacksonville State. We had a tornado and I looked around and one of my friends' apartments was split in half.
Wow.
I was applying for jobs and they were like, this is cute and all, but you don't have proper anything, no credentials at this point to get the job, So I did a story of my friend in her apartment and it ended up going to WBRC in Birmingham. They saw it and one of the guys was like, this is really good. Like you're a baby journalist, but you're working on it. Yeah. And so from there, it just became one of the things that made me say, okay, I think I really want to lean into this because it's about telling people stories. It's about giving them a space to think. My friend, she got, resources that she needed, but she might not have gotten them if we didn't tell those stories. So back then, that was what I was really just chasing. And in college, it became clearer because I really wanted to do radio first.
Now, you went to Jacksonville State for your college. Are you from Jackson? You from Mississippi? That's where you were born and raised?
I'm from Flowood, Mississippi.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. Right around the corner.
Yes. And everybody says, my mom always jokes with me. She's like, you ride so hard for Jackson to be somebody who's not from there. But I do because I love being able to come here back in the day. I'd be on Northside Drive, hanging out at Callaway with my grandpa. And so, there are things about Jackson that have always been center for me and home for me.
Right.
But yes, I went to Northwest Rankin. I did all that stuff. But it always feels like we're all interconnected anyway. So we may as well love on each other the same way.
Yeah.
So that's just what I try to do.
And I always say too, and I because I know me being born and raised in Mississippi, what it means to being on the Mississippi soil, because I've lived all over. When I lived in LA, I think one of the main reasons I decided to come back home because I missed that Mississippi hospitality, So what is being born and raised on the Mississippi soil, being part of the Mississippi soil, and being an African American woman from Mississippi? Does that impact your growth and the decisions you made on what you want to do and how you wanted to do it?
I think it really became clear once I got into the industry and I started to see how people treat folks from Mississippi outside. I interview a lot of people and a lot of high profile folks. So people are like, well, you cool. They found out where I'm from. And then it's like, yeah, we could, let's connect another time. And then again, they find out where you're from. They're like, we don't do movie screenings in Mississippi. And so it was just about that, like creating those networks to be able to bring things like that. And then when those people decide to come here, giving them a reason to come back again and again and again. So you have somebody in Mississippi you can call, not just a Centers Project, and then we might not see you again. Not saying that would happen, but at times prior to COVID, it was the one stop. But you didn't buy the tickets, I'm not coming back. So now it's just trying to build those relationships to say, look, we have good things here. Every time I talk to somebody, whether it's like a Lifetime project or something, Netflix, all that, one of the questions I'm going to ask before y'all can see, because y'all can't see this part in the introduction, have you ever been to Mississippi before? Why not? Why would you come? What can I do to help you come here?
Right.
And so we've helped kind of create some relationships and bring some events and some people fun things. So it's been great over time. And a lot of people don't know I do that. I'm not technically, I guess I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm a champion for Mississippi all the time.
Right.
And I think, you know what it feels like to be here. You know what it feels like to see it fall apart. You know what it feels like. It feels like to watch it thrive. And I think we're on the verge of watching it thrive again. And at the end of the day, people are going to see who was there and who was really, really pushing for it. Not just saying, oh yeah, Mississippi the whole time when we've been struggling. I've been getting it out the mud for all these years. So I just want to be the person that you could say, hey, I can trace that back to, WJTV time. She was really trying to get people to come here.
Well, I'm glad you said that you see now that we're on the verge of a new era. And I think when we think of our journalists too, with the news stories and the people and what happens on the ground every day, you all have a perspective to look at even the previous administrations and where we've been and where we're coming at right now, to actually say that you think we're headed to a new era. That's something we have to really stand up and pay attention to because of the perspectives that you all have. So when you say that, what are you thinking of? What are you seeing, and how are you defining that from where you sit and stand?
So it's not local. I define it from, because people who are doing things in Jackson have been usually doing things for so many years. It's just finally time for the light to shine on them and people to also come to it. There's so many folks I could say that have done events, and over the years they just did it. And even if 5 people came, they kept doing. They were consistent. Now you're seeing hundreds of people show up to these things. So it's not that, it's the fact that the rest of the world is starting to pay attention. And I think COVID helped, because COVID opened up the internet to everyone else. So I got a lot of interviews during COVID, because you can't tell me, oh, I'm not qualified. Zoom is available to everybody. If we can Zoom and I can entertain you,
and you can't be there. We can be there.
You can hop on Zoom. Everybody can hop on Zoom for about 15 minutes. So that's what ended up opening up the world. So I think in having those conversations with a lot of the stars and a lot of these people, I'm starting to see them say, hey, what's this y'all got about, this Fair Street, or what y'all got, and the shows help. Let's be honest about it. The shows help. Different things help. And I think, again, it's all of the world starting to turn their head and say, okay, what is Mississippi doing? Oh, now we're talking about centers. Now you have people coming here to the Grammy Museum that might not have been before, haven't gone to the Delta. Now they're coming because I want to see if it's the same as 1930, and no, it's not. But or in
whatever movie, Time to Kill, or whatever situation.
Just coming to see the curiosity is helping. And that's why I say I think it's starting to. If you look at the movie industry, it's booming. The way the lawmakers have changed the incentives to make people come here, and you can get I can't remember the exact percentage, but you can get a lot of money back. Those things, you're starting to see more and more TV projects. That's why I'm saying things are starting to change a tad bit.
Well, good. Now, WJTV, and we love WJTV. And hey, WAPT, we love you too now.
Y'all are right.
And we love our TV stations who are also part of our community. There are people, I know from my organization, Women for Progress, we consider you all of you a partner, because we rely on you. You all of our water carriers, And so, but at WJTV Pacific, and shout out to Byron, who's one of the amazing anchor persons. But at WJTV, you seem to have a home there, a front porch there, and you're very comfortable in your space. This new show, Live at 9, what was the concept behind that? And what is it about WJTV? Because you've been there now for a while. And what is it about that space that allows you to be, like you said earlier, all of Kayla Thompson,
Try to be it. I've been at WJTV for 5 years. Let me go back and say all of the stations here are excellent.
Yes.
I have friends at every station. And I think that's one big thing about it. We love to compete properly. Sometimes competition can be a little dangerous, but this is, you see this person do an interview, it's like, all right, that looks nice. And then, you keep trying to level up and go against each other in that way, not in a negative sense, because we all understand as media people what it feels like to be in the industry and what it feels like to be in the grind every day. So that within itself is worth a shout out to everybody at all the stations. But I've been at WJTV for 5 years. It's funny that you say I look like I have a porch. I tend sometimes to act like, okay, hey, now y'all go do that. I did my time. You know what I mean? But it was all kind of calculated in a sense. Now I couldn't have brought Live at 9 together without the general manager, without our news director, all of them putting the things together. But I do appreciate that they gave me a space to say, what do you want to see on TV? And I knew that it was important to support small businesses. It was important to support the elderly in our community, because sometimes they feel forgotten about. And at 9 o'clock, who's watching TV? They are. And they're consistent. They even text us on the text line. So it's like you want to create a space that gives everybody something to look forward to. Even if you think, oh, well, Jackson's this and that, I love hearing people change their perspectives and to say, oh, there's nothing to do on the weekend. And now
Oh,
it's
my
gotten to the point
goodness.
where I'm like, you sure?
Yeah,
If there's nothing to do, it's nothing you're interested in doing,
that's
because
right.
there's always something. And so just giving people a space to showcase the greatness that's been here the whole time. That's the thing about it. It's nothing new.
Right.
It's just
None of
a
this
space.
is
No,
new.
it's just a new space to
Yeah.
showcase the best of the people that are here, to give folks new perspectives, to give people new opportunities, because
Mhm.
now I've gotten to the point on the show that people support it so much, and I'm so grateful for that. But I ask people when they come on, I said, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish in this interview? And they're getting those things. Like, if
Yeah.
it's like, I want to do such and such murals, I want to sell this painting, they
Yeah.
do it. And I love that,
Yeah.
because it's okay for people to watch you every day, but if they don't support,
That's right.
it's not helpful. And that show was #1
Yeah.
in the right age bracket. So it's doing great.
It has such diversity. And then when we back in that little area while we're waiting on to have our little time in the spotlight. I mean, the times I've been there, I've connected with people. We're checking each other's numbers.
Mhm.
I met somebody down from Collins, Mississippi. I can't think of it. He's a gospel singer. He was there, and then he and I started talking, and we knew other people, and it's just, and we developed a relationship. I met somebody who was a business owner there that we were able to connect, and she came on my show, and so it is really a wonderful, unique space. And when I think about WJTV and the programming that you all have there, I do think about community. And that's what, to me, even when I think of the city of Jackson, I think about community. And if somebody would ask me, what is Jackson all about? I would say community, because of the diversity we have. And it's a diversity. You have diversity. No, it's not just black and white. It's all races, all religions, young, old. Everybody gets a space in the city of Jackson. I think is what's unique. But I don't want to get too far, because that ain't about what our conversation is about today. I definitely wanted to have a chat with you and talk to you about that. But now that our audience has gotten to know who you are, kind of got their feet wet, thanks you all so much for jumping in and being part of our conversation today. If you have a question for Miss Kayla, you can put it in our chat, and we'll be glad to answer her those questions. But now I have to pivot.
Okay. Now.
Okay. I have to pivot. I love this cover, Master of the Pivot, Lessons in Adaptability from Sports to the Newsroom. So you were thinking one day, I've accomplished all these things. I think I got a book in me. Why Master of the Pivot? What, tell us about that title and why you chose that particular title, and even the time to even sit and write about this book.
Right. Everybody keeps saying that. How did you do this?
Yeah.
So I wrote it in 6 months. But what can I say? Okay. I can say I had a conversation with someone, and they basically put it bluntly that, what do I have if my identity is only connected to an entity,
Wow,
to a company? And I love WJTV. Y'all know that. You see it every day in my face. And so it was just like the way that the economy is going. Some of my friends got laid off from their jobs unexpectedly. You never know. You can never say what won't happen.
Right.
But a book is forever. And legacy. That's what I started thinking about. What can I build a foundation on? I don't have anything. You can see my social media, but what if Instagram goes down tomorrow?
Right.
What if Facebook goes down tomorrow? What do I have?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell my story? Who's going to say I said this? Because people can change words. We see AI switching up video. Right. So it was like, these are my printed words. You can't change that. You can't change my story. These are portions of the story I feel are important for such a time as this. And so in one of the jokes and the questions that we had for the day, we do that on Live at 9. It was, if you could write a book, what would be the title? And I said, Master of the Pivot. You don't know where it came from. It just came.
Yeah.
And I think I've always had to be adaptable.
Yes.
And Master of Adaptability is not a cute title.
No, I know.
That's a lie.
And too much right now.
Right. So Master of the Pivot felt right. And I said it in that moment. But then I started thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I do pivot a lot. Like, you can't, at work, you can't really catch me off guard.
Right.
I'm one of those people, I'm over prepared. And I think my mom's like, you do this so well at work. What is going on here? Like, because I always have 3 or 4 interviews backed up. I know what I'm going to do. Oh, I know who I can call. There's never a time that I've really just been caught off guard in the last year or 2 years. Since Live and 90s happened, some people will panic. But honestly, I'm like, why are we tripping? Let's put this in. Let's do this and that.
And it's so relevant, Kayla, right now, because when I, and I'm going to tell you, it wasn't just about me seeing you writing the book. I love women who tell their stories and take the time to make sure that they do that. But when I looked at the title, Master the Pivot, that's where we are right now. When we think about all the folks that have gotten laid off, have been on a lot of these federal jobs for 20, 30 years. And now they're like, well, I was expecting to be here another 10 years. I was expecting to be here to be another 20 years. And also, even still post-COVID, women are saying, look, and even me, I have a business that I've been part of and founded over 35 years or more ago. I'm pivoting now to something else, to what to look. But it took an effort to do that because you're tied to that. That's it becomes your identification. Because sometimes we just don't even forget it. We forget about it, but that's what we get up and we be every day. We be that entity instead of being ourselves. So now it takes this whole thing to not disconnect ourselves from the work, because you do good work. You want to be happy about that and stuff. But how do I pivot? How do I let go? When we say master the pivot, how do I let go of that thing that I think it makes me when I'm so much more, especially when you're a woman? And that takes a challenge. It takes a mind shift. It takes planning. It takes all of that. So I think when you wrote this particular book, I think I've been hearing it. Women have been saying to me, you need to pick it up. You need to pick it up. Because we're all trying to master that pivot. And some of us are doing it good. I mean, I know I got some sisters who, my goodness, they look like they just got on another pair of heels and kept on rolling, And then some of us are still challenged with it. And that's okay too. So for you, when you think about mastering of the pivot, what would you tell women about mastering the pivot? What is in this particular book that would help us, those others of us who are making that pivot? And it doesn't have to be a big grand pivot. It can be a small pivot. Tell us about how this book identifies that.
I'm glad you said that, because my dad was like, I love that. Master, that's cool. Yeah. My mama, she said, everybody using pivot these days. Pivot is making a drastic change from this thing to the next. And I said, it's really not it. Because in the beginning, in the first chapter, I'm talking about staying on your toes. That's technically a pivot is a move.
Right.
So it's staying on your toes.
And balance.
Exactly. Yeah. And stay balanced. Exactly. So I learned that when I was playing soccer. And it was one of the things that we had to learn, because it's a test that we had to do every single year, or we couldn't play. You can't play, you can't keep your scholarship. So I said, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. And the best thing was to stay on your toes and to pivot, so that when the next beat came, you were ready. You were never just in a position to be like, oh, I got to, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what's wrong. I think, so when you ask about what women can do, stop waiting for the moment to pivot. Be prepared. You can always do something in the waiting, right? You probably hate that job right now. Not that I hate my job, but you probably hate that job right now.
Right.
You can't just leave tomorrow. Right. The economy says you can't just leave tomorrow. A lot of us know that. Again, I had friends that left jobs in the industry, moving on to something else, and 6 months later, 8 months later, they still don't have a job. Right. So what can you do in the waiting? That's what you need to think about. What can I put out here? How can I put things to the side? And technically, my mom has always told me put money to the side. Money, shoot, you want to pivot some money over there. But I think about that. Can I say a bad word?
Yes.
Okay, pissed off. You got to pivot while you're pissed off, because sometimes you think that, this person would never do me like this. Yeah. Or this relationship is always going to be here. It's not. And it doesn't even mean romantic relationships. Sometimes people you expect to come through for you do not.
Yes.
And they won't. Yeah. And you need to be ready to say, okay, while I love you, Miss Jones, I'm going to have to go over here and continue my life on. And I think the biggest one that I've heard a lot of people talk about is a chapter dedicated to my grandmother. And her name is Corinne. I always thought that when she passed, that was going to be it. Like, my contract would be up, and everything aligned in that way. She passed away last year. My contract was up at the top of this year, and I was like, that's it. I'm ready to go. Like, and then it was like, no, you're not. You're not. You need to stay here. You need to just start building for your future. What else is there? There's more for you to do here. You mad right now. You know, you mad with this day. You don't want to come here. You tired of looking at people in the parking lot when they call you. Just you got to figure out how you can pivot while you're pissed off. And that doesn't mean like you're pissed off and you just say, okay, well, I you know, woe is me. No, what can I do right now? How can I be on the offensive instead of on the defensive? Take control of my life and my own destiny. Because again, everybody knows that the way the world is going, value is looked at differently. And tomorrow, what you expected to be there always could not be there.
And I think it's so important for our younger generation to get that now. You know, I'm having, you know, I'm doing a lot of career counseling for young women, and we're talking about these particular conversations. I get young women who say, well, look, I don't want to be really tied down to a particular job. I want to be able to try here, try there. And that's foreign to me because I came from a generation that you went to college, you got your job or you got your business going on. Next thing is the house, next thing is a car, next, you know, the husband, whatever format that would go in. And you were in that. You know, we fellow workers, just think about a lot of these fellow workers, they came from a generation that you got a good government job.
You would stay right
there. And so now everything is shaping up. So I think the other thing that when we talk about the pivot too, is that we have to kind of make it part of our lives, you know, that expect the opportunity to pivot all the time, shifting the right shifts. Now, you know, you don't need to be out there just, you know, every 30 days you're changing something. Right. But the whole idea of pivot, just like fear, you know, and because that's a whole other topic for another day. But that whole idea of how do you deal with fear, making sure I think one of our members of Women for Progress created a book, say, Fear is My Friend. So how do you make it so where you feel comfortable with fear? Because it's going to be with you. I don't care how. I've talked to millionaires, and all of them say, when I get up to speak, I'm shaking in my stomach, you know, or I'm shaking my boots, or no, I've had very large or wealthy leaders that called me and said, Miss Jones, I can't have that conversation with you because I'm a background person. I can't do that. So all of those things we have to say to women, because that's mainly what our audience is. But for anybody, it doesn't matter who they are, is that when you're dealing with fear, it's got to be something you become comfortable with. And the same thing about pivoting and making sure that you pivot well.
Let me just add too about fear really quickly, because somebody talked about consistency. That's one of the chapters. And a lot of people love that chapter too, because you can't do anything if you're not consistent. You can't do anything if you're not disciplined. You could talk about, oh, I got this business and the Lord also gave you discipline and consistency. Those are two gems you can use. But I think when we talk about fear, and I think about fear in the same way I think about envy. Right. So let's talk about envy really quickly. I tend to think that people who are envious or jealous of people don't believe that God can do the same thing for them. Doesn't believe that God has something for you. Flip side to fear. You don't believe that God's going to carry you through. He brought you to this moment. You don't think he's just going to let you fail and you out here professing his name. He's not going to let his kids look stupid.
That fear is for somebody. That word was somebody else,
you
not for yourself.
But again, fear and envy, I kind of put them on the same kind of, you know, pedestal, because it's so what I'm scared. You know what I mean? So what I'm scared. But if I'm envious, I'm jealous of somebody, I'm not doing my own work.
That's right.
But if I'm fearful, I'm doing my own work. I'm just scared to take that extra step because I don't know how it's gonna go. But what else can you do in this moment except for just go out on a limb? When Live at 9 first launched, that first day, I was like, oh God, please. My parents were there in the corner. I'm like, this is terrifying. But you have to go, because I knew, I prayed on it. I pray a lot. I'm very intuitive. The Spirit say don't, I don't. The Spirit say leave, I leave. So I knew what we were going to do was going to be special. I prayed on it. I've seen different things that need to be created for the show, how the format would go. Got all of that in a dream. Every time I get something in a dream, I'm like, it's the book in a dream. Some of the chapters in a dream. So I was like, okay, I know it's going to be successful. I'm just scared to see, you know, the response. But if I'm just scared of a response, I'm cool with that. People have been responding and talking about me my whole life. But if I'm too scared and I just say, oh, well, look at them, they got their show. That's crazy. Let me do my own thing. Let me fail on my own.
And I love that because you're saying I'm taking my talent, I'm taking what God has given me, and I'm maximizing and doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
If I look on the left and look to say maybe I should be doing that, that's going to be a whole challenge
It's
for
not
you.
for you.
But you can be yourself. You can do the best of yourself.
If you can't crochet right now, how do you think you will be able to make a rug tomorrow? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't unless you're consistent and you have discipline. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that you can't blame it on. Oh, I don't know. I'm not. It's not for me. Sometimes it might be. You just need to put the hustle in. You need to put 6 months of true focus, and then you'll get. Like I was like, I don't know if I can write a book. Sit down, write. The best writers write. You can't. The best readers read. Writers read, and all the things. Like you can't do one thing if you're not consistent and you're not disciplined and you're not honest about what it is you're truly trying to get out of it.
Well, wow. I want to remind our audience that we're talking right now to Miss Kayla Thompson. She's currently anchor with WJTV, co-host of Live at 9 and so much more. And now author of Master the Pivot. Okay. And what I love about it, I'm going to tell you, because my attention span these days, Kayla, is very, very small. I love this book. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to tell your audience, it's 127 pages. Mm-hmm. I think we all can do that, okay? 10 pages a day. Mm-hmm. And the font kind of big. But it's even readable. You did a wonderful job.
My grandpa said, thank you, baby girl. I can see that. So, yeah.
Yeah. and I love all of your sections of the book, and each particular chapter is explosive. Mm-hmm. And it's even aha, because when I think urgency is everything, I tell people all the time too that we have to move with a sense of urgency. This world is going so fast. Mm-hmm. And if we think we got all the tomorrows to get things done, to live that dream, mm-hmm. to write that book, mm-hmm. to go on that trip. So tell me a little bit about that particular chapter. Urgency is everything.
So I talk about trust, like building trust with people, and how Live at 9 over time, you're in a space where there's a lot of guys, and I'm the Black woman.
Yeah.
A lot of guys and the Black woman.
Right.
Because, Blake started the show with us and things. So it's there's just dynamics. It's not even that it's black or white. It's just guys. Like, they're like, who are you telling what, you know what I mean? Yeah. At times it was a little bit of a fight, but they were all down because when it came time that, there's an issue, they know Kayla's ready. Just go to Kayla real quick. What do you want to do? Because I always had an idea. It was never, let's try and figure it out. Let's take 15 minutes. No, like the show starts at 9:00. It's 8:56. Somebody didn't show up.
Yeah.
So let's figure it out. It's never, but when you can be reliable in that way, and when you're urgent in that way, I think more people trust you. More people say, okay, if she's going with it, then I'll go. If this is the decision she thinks is best, then I'll go with it. And of course, we're still in male-dominated fields. We're still doing things that you're going to have to do that fight. You're going to have to do the push and pull. But over time, I think that helps with the relationship. And of course, urgency is everything. Talks about when we give people a chance to come on the show too. It's not, let me get like a month, girl, to get my stuff together. No, because at this point in time, you're wasting my time. Yeah. Because by the time that month comes around, what usually happens,
something else.
Well, girl, can I get another month? No, you can get on, and I'm gonna delete your number. It's just that it's not being so fearful that you waste an opportunity. I should say, because that happens far too often.
Yeah, like invited me to
sure did.
What was it? Senior? What was it?
It wasn't senior. It was the Golden Club.
Oh, the Golden Club. I said, me? The Golden Club? Now that was just me not dealing with reality, but I belonged on that segment.
You were a golden achiever. It was different.
Thank you for pivoting that title. Yeah, but I love this book. I'm so happy and proud of you. You have a foreword by Dr. Tundra Murphy, who's an amazing woman in her own right. Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit about your relationship with her. Why did you choose her to write this foreword?
You know what? I love Dr. Tundra Murphy. She's gonna cuss me probably once or twice if she needs to. Just sometimes you're like, Kayla, golly, like relax. So I appreciate her because she's been honest. She's popped their hand a couple times. Like I said, she only had to use 1-2 bad words for me to tell me sit my butt down. It was because I was rushing the process. She's written 13 books, and most of all, let me just say, her book Friday Fire just came out on Monday. So
wow!
Because she's amazing. So it was easy to have somebody who you could trust in that way. But I was honored that she was like, you know what, let me help you. I would call her and I'd be like, you know, I'm not on schedule again. Or she'd be like, you know, here's your update. What's my update? How many pages? I'm like, you know, writing. So it was nice to have her as an accountability partner. It was nice that she allowed me the space to bother the stank out of her during that 6-month process. And she never gave, you know, energy that she didn't want to help. She never gave energy that she didn't care. She never gave energy that she thought I was just another person trying to write a book. Like, it was honestly one of the best experiences, and I'm grateful for her, and I'm grateful for her books. And y'all should get them, because it really was easier because she was there. And Emmy Sprayberry as well, she edited the book. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to give their time in that way. You know what I mean? They're like, shoot, you on TV, call somebody else. But they really sat there and helped me through this process. So I don't even know if I chose them. They chose me, and we all latched on together.
And I got to touch on that because it is so important for women to have. I don't even want to say it's not even a village. I think you got to have the right people in your life. And you don't need a whole lot, you know, maybe 3, you know, or just whatever your need is. What did those relationships, those women relationships, that power, somebody like Tanja Murphy, who is amazing, and talking about discipline. Oh my goodness, she is go to the dictionary. Her picture is there somewhere. So what did those types of relationships mean for you, not only in writing the book, but what did you come and walk away from working with those women over the 6-month period?
It kept me honest, number one, about what, because she would say, what are you trying to get out of it? Are you trying to make money, or are you trying to leave legacy? Like, what are we really trying to do here? Because, you know, you can just stop writing like 3 months into the process, just like put it out. If you're just trying to say if you're you, so you can sell it. But she was like, but if you're trying to do something worthwhile, sit in this moment. The book, because the book was done. But then she was like, it's reading too fast. Give the people, just slow it down. And at first I was like, okay, you know, I can take constructive criticism. I was an athlete, but it stung a little bit. You know, I thought it was good, but it was 108 pages.
Yeah.
When I got a chance to expand, she's like, everything doesn't need to be expanded. Just wait, just sit in it. And over time, it'll come to you. And the funny thing is, the chapter about my grandmother, I wrote backwards. The chapter about my grandmother was the final chapter I fixed one day before her birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, everything. So everything felt like alignment in that moment. And I think if she wouldn't have told me, chill out, sit your butt down for a minute, read it again, you know, then it wouldn't have been as impactful for a lot of people. What they tell me is impactful, you know, but it would have probably felt rushed for other folks. And especially like the question about women, when I look over it, till you just said that, I didn't think about the fact that it was 3 women that helped me through this entire process.
Yeah.
Cam, she took my pictures, the camera took my pictures. And, you know, I trusted her anyway, because Cam, I don't know what it is about her, but when my grandmother passed away, she just messaged me out the blue and it was like, hey, I know you grieving, come take pictures. I'm like, I don't want to take a picture. She's like, yeah, let's do your headshots. I'm like, no. But I'm so thankful for her and the mindset that she had for me to take that photo, because that photo is everywhere.
Yeah.
My main headshot now in the blue, all of those, that's from when I was grieving. So I see those now in these high moments. Not only do I think about my grandmother, but I think about, look at this sadness you felt last year. Look at you now, you know what I mean?
And it wasn't a picture that you look on and say, oh, that was the time my grandmother died. It was a time where I moved to the next step or next level. And connecting that with your grandmother, who, oh my goodness, that is amazing. Girl, I'm getting chills on this book. And look, it's holiday time, folks. You know, Thanksgiving is coming up. Birthdays are coming up. Yay. Christmas is coming up. And isn't it cute?
Okay. You know, it feels good. Moment. Okay.
Yes. You know, you can stick it in your purse. You know, that's what we love too. So when you're sitting in the dentist's office waiting to get that tooth pulled, this is a great little book to pull out of your purse. When you're in the doctor's office, you know, that's a great, if you're going downtown to get your tag, you got to wait a couple of minutes in line. So pick that up too. So I'm loving this as a book. And I want to read this. Let me see what our time is, but we got a little bit of time left. So I want to read this because I thought it was good. I don't know who came up with this. It probably was you too. But success is defined differently for everyone. But one thing that successful people have in common is the ability to adapt and pivot. So you talk about being successful, it provides those characteristics of being the ability to adapt and pivot. So we know when we want to be successful, we have to have that. Things don't always pan out the way we thought they would, but many times that redirection can bless you in ways you never could have imagined. In Master of the Pivot, Kayla shares comical stories and lessons learned while transitioning from life as a two-sport collegiate athlete to the fast-paced world of journalism. I thought that was great. And that was, when you read that, you want to go ahead and pick that. Okay. Yeah, I need to pick that up. So all of these things seem to be very intentional, even as you say it was a transition for you. It was a pathway to get to this particular point of where you are. And I think for women, we need this. I think these are the kind of stories and experiences that we have to share with each other to keep us moving. There's nothing like being, and I get emotional about this because I think about all the amazing women in my life. There's nothing like another woman you feeling, and she calls you up and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you're going through all kinds of stuff, and you want to just boohoo and float out. But she talks you through it, and in 5 or 10 minutes into it, you forgot what you were being sad about. Those, and I want to say to women, the women that are listening, be those types of people. Okay, it's not about, hey girl, here's $100 to get that light bill paid. Here's can you want to go with me on this cruise? I think I could pay it 50% of it for you. It's about being there. It's about having someone that you can depend on, no matter what's going on in your life, that you really can have that person that you can depend on. And that's what we can be for each other. I don't care if you're a business owner, being able to share resources. Now, I'm not talking about financial resources, but an opportunity comes up, a grant opportunity, a meeting, a lunch. You say, look, I saw this great lunch. The speaker is going to be there. I think it's going to be powerful. I got you on the lunch. Let's put this in your calendar. Those are the things that we as women, I tell you, if we want to blow up, if we want to support each other, we want to have a better business, we want to be better mothers. Oh my gosh, just sitting and having a conversation and sharing what you're going through with your grandchild or your son. And sometimes it's women who don't even have children, but they understand it. They have a perspective that you may not have. So I think we sharing with each other, making sure that we keep it real with each other, not being criticized. And look, that's tough. All of this stuff I'm telling you is a challenge, right? It's not as easy as we say, because we're human. We want to judge. We want to say, girl, you don't need to be in that relationship. We did all those things. But we have to really, if we want to be real support for each other, we want to be real women with each other. That's what I said, real women with each other. We have to find ways to do that. And sometimes as many of us can do it better than others. Sounds like you had a great team for this particular book. Yeah, definitely.
But I talk about some in that book too. I do talk about some experiences, and like my grandpa has been telling me for years, you don't go to work to make friends. You go to work, get your check, go home. And it's like how I had to. I got burned, so I learned. You do those things, and sometimes you might be that woman, and that's what's hard too. I talk about that. You might be that woman that has everybody's best intention, and they don't have yours, or they cut you in the back, and they think, well, what about it? She'll be all right, or she's a favorite, so it doesn't apply. Like all those things, and how somebody just gets up every single day. So shout out to those people who have been trying to pull knives out of their back every day and show up with a happy face in whatever environment, because that's the thing. Even though you are that solid person, there's still a hater out there for you. Plenty of them.
Yeah. If somebody ain't hating on you, you ain't doing very much out there. I tell you for sure. So what would you like to share? You say we've shared this book. We're telling women, and it doesn't about women. I mean, men need to get this book too. But what would you like to share with women? You say not only about this book, but about women in general, about mastering the pivot.
I love this comment right here. Can't have $1 million dream with a $1 work ethic.
Ooh,
that's what I would like to share.
Wow. Thanks so much. We're just wonderful. These are really great feedback in our comments today. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah, I think when you talk about all these dreams and aspirations, all these things you want to do, let's be honest and realistic with ourselves about how much we're willing to give up for it. Because people look at me now and they're like, oh girl, you got live at 9, you doing this. Okay, let's also talk about the 2:45 a.m. wake up call for 3 years and all these other things that have happened in the interim. Then people come to me, oh girl, you do sports. I haven't done sports in 4 years. You see what I'm saying? And I did that on the side from time to time. Oh, girl, I see you on the weekends. No, you don't. So it's remembering the hustle, number one, because it's going to take you through a journey.
Right.
And then being okay with understanding that it is a journey and it's not going to be quick. Anything that's quick is not always worth it.
Right.
So it's going to take some time. It's going to be painful. And it's going to be some days that you're like, I'm not getting up. I don't want to see none of these folks. So I think that is my biggest takeaway. And what I hope that people get out of it is that everybody is going through it. Everybody is, even in the spaces that you think people look the happiest, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It is a, Lord, help me get up out the bed today because you know what I mean? And they're still being courageous enough. And sometimes people say cocky enough to try to achieve something. And anybody that's trying to achieve something, I think is doing something worthwhile. Because there's a whole bunch of folks talking about folks doing things. But if you ain't failing, you ain't trying.
Right. I remember when we were growing up in the South and in South Mississippi, and I remember my mom, and we had a huge family. And every morning we would get up because she would, one thing we would smell, and I think that would probably wake us up, was the bacon in the skillet, and she would do eggs and fresh biscuits and grits and everything. But when we got up every morning, this could be like 6 o'clock in the morning because we had to get ready to get for the bus, is that she was already fully dressed. She had what they call it makeup now, but she had powder on her face. She had her lipstick on. And cooking all of us full breakfast, because soon as we got on that bus, she was picking up that purse to go do her hustle and do whatever she needed to do. And she made it look good for us. And as I got older and became an adult and looked back on it, and I looked at what she was able to accomplish, I was like, oh my God, this woman was a queen beyond queens to be able to raise a family. She was a big farmer. She was doing all those particular things. So we make it look good sometimes. And sometimes you have to make it look good. But you talk a lot about and I brought that up because when we think of the women who make us who we are, or give us the confidence, the courage that we are, and they are part of us. They're our blood. You talk about your grandmother a lot. What was it about your grandmother that influenced you, that made you who you are? You talk about your faith. What was it about your grandmother that did all those things for you?
So between my grandmother and my mama, so I'll start with my mama. It's funny you said that because I tell her the other day when I was at an event, we were talking about moms in the work environment. I said, I just want to call my mom and apologize for calling her to ask if I could have a Capri Sun while she was at work, because I didn't realize just how much, she might be going through it in a day. And here I am, Mom, can I have this Capri? And she was patient enough to be like, okay, now get off the phone. But looking back, you say, oh, wow, like that was definitely the wrong time to do that type of thing. But my mom has always been a hustler. My granny was always like somebody that gave a wonderful hug. She's on my neck because my middle name is her name. So but she just, she was a great person. She was always so kind. I was her number one. But she was a huge fan. Like, if you could say a huge fan, like she was a huge, I could do no wrong. I could do no wrong. And she made me believe I could do anything. When I was coming up, she'd be like, yeah, I'll go flip a cartwheel in front of her, and she would clap and scream and holler, So over time, it just became somebody that I knew I could look at that would be like, no matter what it is I'm doing, she's proud.
Wow.
No matter what, I could just cut all my hair off tomorrow. She'd be like, girl, you look beautiful. You know what I mean? She might have been lying to me sometimes. But she was always that person that just made me like help build my confidence in that
Right.
way. And my mom, you know, in fashion side, she's like, look, now you gotta have swag. You can't be walking around. They gonna talk about me because now you look. So the swag and the things like that come from her. All of my aunts are hilarious in their own right. So the comedy and the quick wit that comes from
Right.
them, and nothing that I am presenting to y'all
Mm-hmm.
is unfamiliar in my family. Like I might be the calmest person in my
Wow.
family. And that's what's so funny to me. Everybody's like, she's always moving her hands. I'm like, think about the animated people in my family. The loud conversations, like the women that just talk, like they build you up. They make you feel good. They talk about just how proud they are. I have an aunt that I need her to let my hand go. Like every time she says, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe. And when you have people like that in your life, that's always just breathing, even though I don't want to hear it anymore. It's always
unconditional love.
Yeah, and it's amazing to be that. So I try to feel that. So I try to be that for other people. You know, even when I see it, like talk about you, because come on now, you a bad man. You had how many years of a company? You've done all these things for the community. Let's not, you know what I mean. Let's not act like it's a small feat. Let's not act like I'm not in the presence of greatness right now.
Okay.
But it's just being that, seeing that, because when those women in my life saw it, they spoke to it. And they made everybody feel like, you know, okay, I'm powerful. So I try to lead that into my life every day. I try to be that on the set for people. You might even hear me. And sometimes I might sound very unprofessional. I'm like, go ahead. But I feel that because sometimes we're doing things and we don't have a moment where we just stop and say, I'm really doing well. You know what I mean? Or we might not have that grandmother anymore to do that. My grandmother hadn't been able to really know I was on TV for the last few years. That broke my heart apart because I knew she would tell everybody if she could. My grandbaby on TV, you know what I mean? And I came home, and the only thing I got, one moment, I came home, she had dementia, and she looked at the TV, she looked at me, she looked back at the TV, and it clicked. And she just did this, grabbed my hand, and she said, all right. And that was it.
Oh my God.
That was the only moment I had. So I've been here 5 years. She wasn't able to watch and really, but she would look. We're like, they look like the same person. And it was a commercial. And that's what did it for me. And I said, well, thank you, God, for that moment. Because I know I probably would be even more cocky and irritating to y'all now. But I don't even think I'm cocky. I think I'm just confident because the world will kick you down. And you have to believe in yourself.
And grateful.
I am very grateful. But the world will kick you down. I talk about that in the book too. There was a shirt I used to wear because Jacksonville State were the Gamecocks. The shirt says cocky. All of us have it. And this lady was like, why don't you wear cocky? Like, come on, you got to tell everybody that's how you feel. But it's like, why do I not have to be confident in myself? When again, the world is here ready to kick me down. Let this be over here like this. And someone's gonna say, you know what I mean? People are always waiting for something to talk bad about you for. So I may as well big up myself. For whatever moment might present itself. Because a lot of those do come. More than y'all know. So.
Well, you make you that's why I think we connect with you on doing your work and now who you are, because you're in our community. You're now taking speaking engagement. Look, if you need somebody to come at your event to have, this is just a little tap, okay, a little piece of tea of what she's able to share with others. So she is also taking speaking engagements now. So give us your website where people can get connected on that.
Instagram right now.
Okay.
But or Kayla Thompson TV. I'm working on it. I do need to get the website up and going.
Okay, good. Good. So Kayla Thompson TV. And look, we'll share some links as a follow-up this conversation. But you're doing amazing things, and I want to say keep doing it. We love you, not just because you're great on TV, but because you're a great person and how you touch our hearts. And I think most importantly, right now, with everything that's going on with life on a national, local level, wherever we are, and all the different things that we feel like we don't have any control over, I think the number one thing you do for us, you say to us, it's okay. And you kind of free us to kind of do, because we see you all excited doing all these different things. And we said, well, I can do that. I can do that. And I can do it better, you know. And so we thank you so much for that. I'm so glad that you're now going out and sharing your stories by speaking because I think whether you we're talking about speaking to a group of young teenagers or a young women that are coming along, or even a seasoned women, and reminding us who we are, reminding us that the work that we do every day is great, you know, because we do. Okay, that was an achievement, but we on to the next thing. You know, we've been taught. Okay, my mom used to say to me when I was growing up, and I would share stuff with her. I said, "Oh, I did this and I did this," and she would sit so intentionally and listen to me. And then at the end, she would say, "Okay, now what you going to do tomorrow?" You know, and that was wonderful. I think a lot of people think of it now and they say, "Well, gosh, we're in the age of mental health, and you got to have care for yourself." Yes, you can have those things. But what she taught me was to keep going. That was, and I hear it even today, even though she's not here. Keep going, because that's what she's saying, man. This thing is great. She listened to me. She said, "Oh, this is great, but what are you going to do tomorrow?" Because, like you said, you got to move with a sense of urgency. And even though I think one of the things that I have learned over the years is now being a grandmother of 5 and all those things is that also, but we do have to take a little time to reflect. And I think that's what you've done with Master of the Pivot. Is this is your reflection of all of those things and all those thoughts and all of those great people that have been over your life. So thank you for sharing this with us. I'm going to have you sign it. It's going to be my copy out, because I already bruised it up. Look at there. I've already bent the pages and stuff. So this is going to have to be my copy. But I do want to, we're at the top of our hour. Thank you so much, Kayla, for joining me today.
They say something.
I know you got to go back to your job.
No,
okay?
I'm through. I got to go watch my story.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for listening. And most importantly, just do the thing. Do it. I don't know what you're waiting on. You don't know what you're waiting on. You waiting to come on TV, but I can't bring you on TV if you ain't got nothing to show. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah, and look, I love that comment. Them George Washington girls took me out.
Oh yeah,
okay, that must a private story. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, the book. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all also for joining me today. I see so many of our friends that have chimed in. Thank you all so much for listening in. This is the Working Woman Report. We're here at the Women for Progress studio. Live today, and we mastered the pivot to get the show going today. We're not with our using mics and everything, but it worked out wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Women for Progress Media. You can go to our website at womenforprogressradio.com. A list of all of our podcasts are there. I think we have a few new ones that are not up yet, but that's where you can get information about all of our hosts and all of our shows. We, of course, again, are live here on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Instagram now also, and of course at our radio page at womenforprogressradio.com. If you got a conversation, you know of a great woman who is interested in coming and talking with us, please let us know. We have a lot of exciting opportunities that are coming up over the next couple of months. Number one, I don't have time for all of them because I'm at the top of the hour and my executive producer already looking at me crazy, is that we have, of course, every year, for a few years now, we have recognized the Woman of the Year, but we also have nominees. We recognize, I think last year we had 25 nominees. I may be wrong, but go back there and correct me. But nominations for Women of the Year open November 1st. On November 1st, and so we'll be posting our link here on our Facebook and on it, everywhere you can get connected with us, a link where you can nominate a woman. You may want to nominate yourself, so we're excited about that. We had a wealth of amazing women that we recognized last year. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we celebrated them at Kwanzaa time. But this year we're going to be celebrating them in the month of January because we got another big surprise coming up, an event that we're going to be doing there, but we'll talk to you about that later. So that's just one of the things, but we have a lot of things that are going on over the next couple of months, including Kwanzaa. So get connected to us. Our website is womenforprogress.net. That's where you can get connected, get added to our email database, so you can be abreast of all the wonderful things that this organization and the women that belong to this organization. If you're a woman looking for a vehicle for community service, you know, a lot of people think we are a social organization. We're not social. We do some socializing, but we are a community-based organization. So if you're interested in hooking your wagon to ours and making sure you empower this community, go to our website at womenforprogress.net, and all of our contact information is there. Thank you so much. This has been the Working Woman Report every Wednesday from 12 to 1. Thank you for joining me today and being in conversation with the amazing author, Kayla Thompson. I love that name, Thompson, like an actor's name. Master of the Pivot, Lessons in Adaptability from Sports to the Newsroom. I know it's available on Amazon because I saw it. That's where I saw it there. Where else can individuals get it?
Me. Every time you see me, ask me. I got to know.
She's got a trunk. I saw her coming in. The trunk was low to the ground. Just teasing, but I think she has a bunch of them in her back seat. So pick up this book locally by reaching out to her, hitting her up, messaging her, and telling her. We might even put a few in the studio to leave here for people to pick up, because we're right here on State Street at 414 South State Street. So pick these up for gifts, for holidays. I'm telling you, your friend or loved one would not be disappointed. If you have a friend right now that just may be going through some stuff, you know, that she might be in the middle of her pivot, this is the book you want to pick up for her. It's a very easy read. Matter of fact, she starts on Monday. On Friday, she'll be motivated and ready to roll up by Friday. Right? So pick up The Master of the Pivot by our own Kayla Thompson, who's born and raised right here in Flowood, Mississippi. Okay. Thank you all so much. And thank you for tuning in, and have a really great week. Thank you. Bye-bye.